Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Ticking Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette syndrome. In today's video, I am doing a kind of story time-ish thing in light of my last Instagram post. So if you guys don't follow me there, it is at Ticking Clock, and it is a friendly community for everyone with Tourette syndrome and tic disorders and people that want to learn about it. Just anyone who wants to be in a friendly community. If you want to check me out there, it is a really great place for education and learning and just being a big friendly group of people. It's a really great place. So check out Ticking Clock if you want to learn more about Tourette syndrome as well as make some friends. But in light of my last post on my Instagram page, I am making a video of what Tourette syndrome is not. And I just wanted to let you guys know some things that Tourette syndrome really isn't, that people think it is, to make that very clear and straightforward. The media and other large influential outlets have made Tourette syndrome out to be something that it really isn't, and I kind of wanted to debunk some myths in this video and let you guys know the perspective of what Tourette syndrome is from someone who actually lives with it. And I think it would be educational and pretty awesome just to talk about what Tourette's is from a real and raw standpoint. So without further ado, let's get into what Tourette syndrome is not. So to start us off in what Tourette syndrome isn't quirky. And I wanted to make that very clear. While it is true that everyone has their quirks, Tourette syndrome and tics are not quirks or quirky. And here's why. A quirk could be something like collecting vintage ties, or becoming vegan, or being well known as the funny one in your group. These are all different types of quirks that are totally quirky, and it's okay to say they're quirky, but Tourette syndrome isn't quirky. And the reason behind this is that it is a neurological disorder, which means it literally affects the brain. There are neurotransmitters and chemicals in the brain that are misfiring and stuff, leading to tics, which is not quirky. It is actually a medical condition. So yeah, Tourette syndrome isn't quirky. It's not something that you can just be like, oh, tics are quirky. Like I said, quirky is a hobby of collecting things or having a characteristic that just makes you a little bit different. But Tourette syndrome is literally a medical, neurological thing. So don't say it's quirky. Being quirky is having different aspects or personality traits that make you different. And although Tourette syndrome does make us different, like I said, it is literally neurological. It is misfiring of chemicals in our brain, and that's not quirky, that's just medical. So, not quirky. The next thing that Tourette syndrome is not is Tourette syndrome is not fake. I have a lot of followers on my Instagram who are recently diagnosed with Tourette syndrome or are recently experiencing tics, and a lot of them have come to me and said, hey, my friends think I'm faking because this is new. And that's awful, and where do I even begin? As I just mentioned, Tourette syndrome is literally a neurological disorder. It is completely real. It is not fake. It affects, I believe, 1 in 100 individuals, or at least tics affect 1 in 100 individuals, and it is 100% real. I know because I've lived with it for over 10 years. I've had tics as long as I can remember, and going around saying it's fake is completely discrediting and disregarding what people go through. There are so many people who deal with it, and so many people who feel like they're not valid because the whole world and the media has kind of made Tourette syndrome out to be this fake thing where people only swear, and that's not true. Tourette syndrome is 100% real, and if you don't believe me, then just Google it. Tourette syndrome is not just swearing. This is a very common misconception when dealing with the topic of Tourette syndrome, because so many people think that swearing is the only symptom. And while it is true that coprolalia is a tic that exists, it only happens in 10 to 15% of people with Tourette syndrome, which is a super small number. And it is true that some of us with Tourette's do swear, but not all of us do. So Tourette syndrome is not just swearing. I have a lot more videos on coprolalia and the copro phenomenon, so I will link them up there if you'd like to check those out. But just know Tourette's is not just swearing, it is so much more than that. Tourette syndrome is not funny. And okay, while sometimes it is okay to laugh at certain tics with the permission of the individual dealing with them, it's important to note that the disorder in itself is not funny. Would you say OCD or depression or anxiety are funny? You wouldn't, so why are you gonna say Tourette's is funny? It's like I said, a neurological disorder, and it is very real. It is very hard to deal with. My tics leave me winded for breath, in pain, in discomfort, like so many negative things. And so why would you laugh at that? Tourette's is not funny, and I just wanted to make that clear, like the condition itself. Sometimes it's okay to laugh at a funny tic, like say I start doing a baby shark tic. That's kind of funny. You can laugh with me, but never laugh at me. Tourette's isn't funny. Tourette's isn't for your entertainment. This is important to note because on YouTube, a lot of big channels have re-uploaded Tourette syndrome TikTokers and other content saying like, I'm so proud of these people for sharing their tics for our entertainment. And it's not for your entertainment, it's literally to raise awareness. Tourette syndrome is so misunderstood, and having these videos posted by individuals is strictly for education. Like, why would a disorder be for your entertainment? Really? It's not something for you to laugh at. It's not something for you to be like, oh, this is funny to look at. Like, this is haha. It's not like we're circus performers. Like, when we have tics, we're not circus performers. We are literally people dealing with a neurological disorder. And so it's not for your entertainment. We're not on some pedestal where you should be spectating us ticking. Like, no. Tourette syndrome is not for your entertainment. It is literally a struggle every single day to deal with it. So I hope you know that now. Tourette syndrome is not a joke, and it is not your punchline. This again kind of goes with the funny one, but the media has made Tourette syndrome out to be this vulgar condition where people only swear and do like weird things, and it's often made fun of. Like, really? People use Tourette syndrome as an excuse to have bad behavior. They use it as an excuse to get away with swearing. Like, they use it as an excuse. So Tourette syndrome isn't an excuse. It is not a joke. It's not something that you should be having at the butt of your joke. Like, it's not a punchline. It's not something you should be mocking or making fun of. It's really hard to deal with. So yeah, there are so many Tourette syndrome jokes, like with swearing as the main theme. And as I said, Tourette syndrome is not just swearing, so stop making jokes about a neurological condition. Like, please. You can do so much better. Tourette syndrome is not a descriptive term. You can't just say, oh, so-and-so has Tourette's because of whatever. Like, as I said, it can't be used as an excuse for bad behavior, as an excuse for swearing, as an excuse for moving in weird ways. Like, it is literally a real neurological condition, and I want to make it clear that it is not to be used as a descriptive term for your benefit. A lot of people on social media, for example, will say, I think so-and-so has Tourette's because they're swearing, or because they have bad penmanship, or because they have a weird movement that they're doing. Like, don't use Tourette's as a descriptive term unless the person genuinely has Tourette syndrome. Like, it's not that hard, people. Tourette syndrome is not something that you want to have. I can't tell you how many times on my Instagram page and on TikTok I have seen people saying, I wish I had tics, it looks like so much fun. No, it is not fun. You do not want to have it. Like, please do not say that. It is highly offensive. People say they wish they had it so they could get away with swearing, when in reality, people with coprolalia don't get away with swearing. And people with motor tics and other vocal tics, like, they don't get away with it because Tourette syndrome isn't that well known in society. So would you want something that literally stigmatizes you and stereotypes you among society? No, I didn't think so. Tourette syndrome is not attention seeking. I can't tell you how many times on my Instagram I've seen people with posts saying, you're ticking for attention, or this is just what you want to do to gain clout. But really, why would anyone ever do that? It's not attention seeking. Literally, when I have tics, like, I feel so ashamed and so embarrassed, and I suppress most of the time, which is literally awful, and I do not recommend it. But I suppress so much because of what society has presented on Tourette syndrome as a disorder. And if there wasn't this stigma, I probably wouldn't suppress, because people wouldn't think I'm attention seeking and looking for like attention. Like, no, it's really hard to deal with, and it's not attention seeking. It's literally, like I said numerous times in this video, it is a neurological disorder, and neurotransmitters are literally misfiring in your brain. It is not something that you're doing for attention. And if you are, like, if you're faking it or doing it for attention, why? Like, really? Why? People who actually experience Tourette syndrome and tic disorders know that it is heckin' hard to live with. Like, really hard, and we would never do it for attention. My YouTube channel is not for attention or for clout. I don't really care how big of a following I get. All I'm doing is trying to raise awareness and provide education so people out there can learn the truth about it, because there are so many misconceptions about it, and I just want to break those myths. Thank you for watching this video of what Tourette syndrome isn't. I think it's really important to debunk these myths while my channel is still fairly new, because I want people out there who are watching this to learn what Tourette syndrome actually is and what it really isn't at the same time. So I hope these opinions and facts led you to new knowledge about Tourette syndrome and tic disorders, and maybe give you a new insight on what it's like to live with them. If you'd like to stay tuned to educational content, as well as some of my life stories as someone who has lived with Tourette syndrome for over 10 years, I would be so appreciative if you would subscribe to my channel, because the goal of this channel here is to break the stigma surrounding Tourette syndrome and to let you guys know the real and raw truth about it. So subscribe if you're interested in that. I would also love it if you would give this video a thumbs up if you agree with any of these points, or if you learned anything, and leave a comment down below saying hi, telling me what you want to see in future videos, or letting me know what you learned and if there's anything else you think I should have included in this video. As always, we're learning together, we're laughing together, and we're ticking together. Have a great night.